What's up, guys? This is the network back with another video, and today we are talking about the difference between freezing your data and opting out of secondary credit bureaus and why both of these moves are critical if you're building credit running CPNs or trying to clean up your file. This video is for educational purposes only. If you need help applying this information or running the steps correctly, message the network on Discord. Telegram is no longer supported. So here's the deal. There's over 50 secondary data furnishers that hold your personal information, not just the big three like Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. We're talking LexisNexis, Inovis, FactorTrust, Clarity, ChexSystems, Early Warnings, Teletrack, and a whole lot more. And the truth is, a lot of these companies are snitching on you to banks, credit card issuers, landlords, job applications, and lenders. Now, freezing and opting out are not the same thing. Let's break it down. When you freeze a bureau, you're putting a lock on that report. No one can access it unless you lift that freeze yourself. That gives you control over who can see your data. When you opt out, you're telling the data broker to stop sharing your information for marketing purposes. It doesn't stop them from keeping your file internally, but it limits how widely they can spread it. So what should you do first? Simple: request your reports from every bureau possible. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you are legally entitled to a free copy of each report. You just have to ask for it. Most of these companies have request portals right on their sites or printable mail-in forms. Step 1, request the report. Step 2, review it line by line. Step 3, dispute anything that's inaccurate, irrelevant, or outdated. That's your foundation. Now let's talk examples. If you're trying to open a bank account and you're getting denied, the issue is probably on ChexSystems or Early Warning. You freeze those and then request the deletion of any negative data. If you're applying for high-limit credit cards and you keep getting flagged for identity verification, the problem is likely LexisNexis or Inovis. Those places hold address history, previous phone numbers, employment info, even your past disputes. Freezing LexisNexis can protect your CPN file from being flagged during identity verification, especially on platforms that auto-check addresses like Experian or Credit Karma. You don't want your new file cross-referencing your old one just because of an outdated address match. Same with Inovis. That's one of the low-key bureaus most people don't even think about, but it's involved in a lot of soft pulls and banking decisions. If you're running pledge loans with Navy Federal or applying for credit builder programs and getting random denials, this could be why. So how do you do it? Each bureau has their own freeze and opt-out process. LexisNexis has a freeze form where you upload ID and proof of address. Once frozen, no company can access your report without your permission. They also have an opt-out form where you can tell them not to share your data for marketing. That won't remove the data completely, but it limits the exposure. So Inovis has an opt-out pre-screen process where you can electronically opt out for 5 years or mail it in to opt out permanently. You can also freeze your Inovis report through their security portal. FactorTrust is owned by TransUnion and works just like the others. You can request your report online, opt out for 5 years electronically or forever by mail, and you can freeze it to stop lenders from pulling your data. ChexSystems lets you do both as well. You can freeze it online with a PIN code system, or you can opt out by submitting their permanent opt-out form. Once frozen, lenders and banks can't auto-pull your report during account setup. Clarity is Experian's version of FactorTrust. Again, same process: 5-year opt-out online, permanent opt-out by mail security, freeze with ID confirmation. Teletrack is Equifax's version of a subprime data broker. You can freeze your report, submit disputes, and opt out of their marketing databases all through their online form or by mail. But here's what people overlook: just opting out or freezing won't automatically delete negative data. If your goal is to clean up the report, you still need to send in the proper dispute documentation. Freeze and opt out just slow down how much damage those bureaus can do while you fix the issue. Also, keep in mind, freezes don't stop companies you already do business with. If you owe a balance or have an account in collections, that company can still pull your report because they have a legal relationship with you. And let's say you're trying to open new lines on a CPN file. Freezing secondary bureaus first is the difference between getting flagged and sliding through. If the lender can't match enough data on the back end, they skip the verification process entirely and you move forward with the approval. That's how a clean CPN file wins. In 2025, it's not about random luck, it's about calculated preparation. One more play: if you're setting up your business credit and using a real SSN as a personal guarantor, freeze these same bureaus to prevent cross-linking between your business apps and old personal credit issues, especially if you've had derogatories in the past. And if you're trying to get high-limit approvals off CPNs with business guarantor strategies, the same rules apply. Freeze the noise, opt out of the exposure, and keep your data tight. The last thing you want is a well-built file getting flagged by some random data broker that got your last known address from a magazine subscription you had 6 years ago. So here's the action checklist. 1, request every report you can, especially from LexisNexis, Inovis, ChexSystems, Early Warning, FactorTrust, Clarity, and Teletrack. 2, freeze the ones that can trigger ID verification issues or deny you silently. 3, opt out of every bureau that shares your data for marketing reasons. 4, go back and dispute any outdated or damaging info that's hurting your file. 5, save every confirmation email or letter for proof of freeze or opt out. 6, always update this every 2 to 3 years or when you build a new file. If you don't want to go through this entire process manually, or want to make sure your credit or CPN file is built perfectly, reach out to the network on Discord. That's the only place we respond now, and we can walk you through the setup or even structure the file. This is the network, and we'll see you in the next video.